Western, of course, last night about President Trump's temporary travel ban, the way it was rolled out before the president made his comments this morning. Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons serves on foreign relations and joins me now. Let's talk about the executive order, the rollout, and the way this administration is proceeding on foreign policy, congressional notifications.
Well, Andrea, I think this has been very unsettling. Senator Rob Portman, Republican from Ohio, said that the thing that wasn't vetted was this executive order, this travel ban, rather than the vetting of refugees from 7 countries. I'm gravely concerned about what it's doing to weaken or destabilize our partnerships with Muslim and Arab allies in the region. The assault on Mosul is ongoing right now. The assault on Raqqa is beginning. And in our fight against ISIS, I don't think we can afford to strain our partnership with Iraq. In a hearing yesterday in front of the Foreign Relations Committee, both a Republican and a Democratic witness agreed that the way this travel ban was rolled out has frankly put us more at risk in our conduct against terrorist organizations in Yemen, in Iraq, and elsewhere in the region. And I frankly question the wisdom of how and why this travel ban was rolled out by this administration.
Now, there's also controversy and a lot of conflicting reports about what happened with the raid in Yemen. The White House calling it a success. John McCain saying, after a briefing apparently to at least the Armed Services Committee, while many of the objectives of the recent raid in Yemen were met, I would not describe any operation that results in the loss of American life as success. Now there are conflicting reports as to whether or not Yemen, because of the loss of life, the civilian life, the children who were killed, and domestic concerns there, are either asking for a pause, a halt, or perhaps just nothing at all, but doing something for domestic consumption. What do you think is going on with Yemen right now?
Well, Andrea, first, we have to pause and be grateful to the family of SEAL Ryan Owens, whose life was lost in that raid in Yemen. I had the honor of meeting his entire extended family, his widow, his children, his parents, and siblings. And I first want to stop and say how grateful we all are as a nation for his service and for their sacrifice. And I do think in the weeks ahead, we'll see some strains in the relationship with Yemen as a result of civilian casualties. And I do think the Trump administration is going to have to review more closely how they prepare for and plan for raids like this. Anytime we send men and women in our armed forces into harm's way, we need to make certain that they have the training, the equipment, the planning, and the support that they deserve before they go ahead. And I think the fact that this executive order, which was rushed, and this raid have put some real strain on our partnership with Yemen in our fight against AQAP, which is one of the most deadly terrorist organizations in the world, is something we should all regret and something the Trump administration should consider closely in the weeks ahead.
Do you know if there was any notification to the Hill beforehand of this raid in Yemen?
I don't know that.
And what we know of the way it was decided upon, at one stage at least there was a dinner attended by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, by the defense secretary, the president and his advisors at the White House, Mike Flynn, but not including the State Department, not including any of the other national security agencies. At that stage, do you think that there needs to be a more inclusive decision-making process before decisions like this are made?
Well, Andrea, Donald Trump as candidate was critical of President Obama for having a thorough and detailed and at times lengthy review process before giving the go-ahead on raids such as this raid into Yemen. And my hunch is that the Trump administration is now reconsidering that criticism. Many of us on the Hill were concerned when the National Security Council was revised in order to include Steve Bannon, President Trump's political advisor, as one of the core members of that National Security Council. And I do think all of us owe our men and women at arms a thorough and deliberative process before we put them into harm's way. And it's my hope that the Trump administration will reconsider their process and will take this seriously in the weeks ahead.
Senator Coons, thank you very much. Thanks for being with us today. And Mexico's foreign minister is in Washington today. He's going to be meeting with Secretary of State Rex